Lina lived in a small village with her grandparents, Kamal and Nabila. Though their home was modest, it was filled with warmth and love. Lina's parents had passed away when she was very young, and her grandparents had raised her. They taught her everything: how to care for the land, how to be kind to others, and how to live with a strong sense of pride and respect for the world around her. Grandfather Kamal was old now. His hair was gray, and his back was bent from years of hard work on the farm. Despite his frailty, he always tried to do his best. But lately, he had been feeling weaker. He had trouble getting up in the mornings and would often sit in his chair by the window, watching the birds and the trees outside. Grandmother Nabila, on the other hand, was still very lively. Her soft eyes sparkled with energy, and her laughter filled the house. She always made sure that Lina had everything she needed, and no matter how tough things got, she never lost her smile. But Lina could see the worry in her grandmother's eyes. Their little farm didn't bring in enough money anymore. The savings they had saved for hard times were running out, and the future seemed uncertain. Lina hated seeing her family struggle. One day, as they sat together for their evening meal, Lina spoke up. "Grandmother, grandfather, I've been thinking. Maybe I could go to the town and find work. I want to help." Grandmother Nabila looked at her with gentle eyes. "You're a smart girl, Lina. If you think it's the right thing to do, we'll support you." Grandfather Kamal nodded too, though he was concerned. "It won't be easy, but we know you're strong. Just be careful, and remember to be kind to everyone you meet." Lina hugged her grandparents tightly. "I will. I promise." The town was much bigger than the village, with its busy streets, tall buildings, and the sounds of people talking and laughing everywhere. Lina had never seen anything like it. The houses were bigger, and there were many shops selling all kinds of things. She could smell fresh bread baking, hear children playing, and see workers going about their day. But it also felt a bit overwhelming. Lina didn't know where to start. She walked down the street, feeling nervous but hopeful. She hoped she could find someone kind who would give her a chance. She passed by many shops, but none seemed to have work for her. People were too busy to notice her, and the ones who did just shook their heads. But just as Lina was about to give up, she saw a shop that looked different. It was clean and well organized, with shelves full of spices, fabrics, and other goods. Behind the counter stood a man, Musa. Musa was a tall man, around 30 years old. He had a calm and kind expression on his face, and his eyes were warm. He was known in the town for his successful shop and his generosity. Many people respected him. Lina gathered her courage and walked into the shop. "Excuse me, sir," she said softly. I'm Lina. I'm looking for work. My family needs help, and I want to do my part. Musa looked at her closely. He could tell she was serious, and there was something in her eyes that told him she would work hard. You look like you have a kind heart, he said with a smile. I could use someone to help around here. It's not easy work, but if you're willing, I'll teach you. Lina felt a rush of relief. Thank you, sir. I promise I'll do my best. And so, Lina began working at Musa's shop. She helped organize the goods, cleaned the shop, and served customers. Every day, she learned something new, from dealing with customers to managing the inventory. She saved every coin she earned, knowing it would help her grandparents. She was proud to contribute to her family, and though the work was tiring, it made her feel strong and capable. A few weeks passed, and Lina felt more and more at home in the town. She was becoming skilled at the work, and Musa was always patient and kind, teaching her how to do things properly. But her life was about to change when Amir, her cousin, showed up. Amir was a few years older than Lina, and he had always been the more spoiled one in the family. He was used to living comfortably, without having to work hard for anything. He had heard that Lina was working in the town, and when he saw her, he wasn't very happy about it. You've become quite the busy worker, haven't you? Amir said, looking at Lina with a mocking grin. You really think you have to work this hard? You could be living a life of luxury, not doing this. Lina felt uncomfortable. She had always cared for Amir, but his words made her feel uneasy. I'm working hard to help my family, Amir. This is important to me. Amir shrugged, clearly not understanding. You're wasting your time, Lina. There's an easier way to live. Why not come back home with me? You could live in comfort, with no need to worry about work. But Lina didn't let his words get to her. She knew she was doing the right thing. She continued working at Musa's shop, focusing on the tasks at hand, and not letting Amir's attitude distract her. Days went by, and Amir's visits became more frequent. He seemed determined to make Lina doubt her choices. He would tell people that she was working for a rich merchant and that she was too proud to ask for help from her family. He spread rumors about her, trying to make others believe that she was putting on a show of hard work. At first, Lina was hurt by his actions. She couldn't understand why Amir would try to make things harder for her. But instead of getting angry, she kept doing her work with care and respect. She knew that the most important thing was that she was helping her grandparents. Musa noticed that Lina was upset. One day, he asked her what was wrong. You seem different lately, he said. Is everything okay? Lina hesitated before answering. It's Amir. He's been spreading rumors about me. I don't know why he's doing it, it's making things harder. Musa nodded, understanding. Sometimes people act out of jealousy or fear. You can't change how others behave, but you can choose how you respond. Stay focused on your work and let your actions speak louder than words. Lina took Musa's advice to heart. She kept working hard, and little by little, people began to see her true character. She wasn't showing off. She was doing everything she could to help her family. One afternoon, after a long day at work, Lina decided to talk to Amir. She found him sitting alone at a table in the town square, looking a little sad. "Amir," she said, sitting down beside him, "I know you've been saying things about me, but I want you to understand. I'm not trying to prove anything. I'm just trying to help. I want our family to be okay." Amir looked at her, his face softening. "I didn't mean to hurt you, Lina. I guess I was just jealous. You're doing well, and I didn't know how to feel about it." Lina smiled gently. "It's okay, Amir. You don't have to be jealous. We're family, and we should always support each other." For the first time, Amir seemed to understand. "I'm sorry, Lina. I've been acting foolish. I'll make it right." And from that day forward, Amir stopped spreading rumors and began to help Lina. He saw how hard she worked, and he learned to appreciate the value of effort and family. With Amir's help, Lina decided to open a small shop back in their village. They used the skills she had learned from working with Musa to sell simple goods like vegetables, fruits, and other items people needed. It wasn't much at first, but slowly the shop grew. The people in the village began to respect Lina for her hard work, and she became known as someone who could be trusted. Her grandparents were proud of her, and together they built a life that was more comfortable than they had ever imagined. Lina's kindness, hard work, and dedication had changed her life, and in doing so, she had helped her family and her community. With Amir's support, Lina's small shop quickly gained the attention of the village. People appreciated the care and effort she put into every product. She started selling not only vegetables and fruits, but also other essential goods, like dried grains, spices, and even handmade cloths. Her little shop became a gathering place for the villagers. They came not just for the supplies, but to chat and share stories. Lina had a way of making everyone feel welcomed. Whether it was the old farmer asking for seeds, or the young mother needing advice on how to cook dinner, Lina was always there with a smile and helpful words. Amir, who had once been dismissive of the work she did, found himself becoming more involved. He helped with deliveries, organized the store, and even started learning how to bargain with suppliers. Slowly, he learned what it meant to work hard for something, and his respect for Lina grew stronger. They worked together, side by side, each day improving their shop and making it a place the whole village could rely on. As business boomed, the family began to see more money. Grandfather Kamal, though still frail, began to smile more, seeing his granddaughter's success. Grandmother Nabila, who had always been the emotional backbone of the family, was now able to relax a little more. She could see how much her family had grown, not just in wealth, but in strength and unity. One evening, after closing the shop for the night, Lina and Amir sat together on the porch of their small home. They looked out at the village, now bathed in the warm light of the setting sun. "I never thought it would be like this," Amir said, shaking his head in disbelief. "I thought you were wasting your time when you first started this. But now, I see how much it means, how much it has changed our lives." Lina smiled at her cousin. "It wasn't easy, Amir, but it was worth it. I had to believe in something, even when it was hard. And you've learned that too." Amir nodded thoughtfully. "I have. And I'm glad we're in this together." The bond between them had become even stronger. They had learned from each other, and together they had made their dreams a reality. Even though their shop was thriving, things were not always easy. Business was good, but it brought its own challenges. There were days when the weather didn't cooperate and deliveries were delayed. There were weeks when customers didn't have enough money to pay for what they needed. And sometimes there were people who tried to take advantage of their kindness. One particular customer, a man from a nearby town, came to Lina with a large list of supplies. He promised to pay for them later, but Lina had a feeling something wasn't right. She consulted with Amir, who agreed that they should be cautious. "Lina, I think we should ask for payment up front," Amir said one day. "If this man truly needs the goods, he'll understand." Lina hesitated, but then nodded. "You're right. We've worked too hard to let someone take advantage of us." When the man returned to pick up the supplies, he seemed surprised when Lina asked for payment in advance. He tried to convince her to trust him, but Lina stood firm. "I'm sorry, but I can't let you take these goods without paying." The man was angry and walked away, muttering under his breath. But Lina felt relieved. She had stood up for herself and her business. That night, as she sat at the dinner table with Amir and their grandparents, she realized how much she had grown. She wasn't the same young girl who had left the village in search of work. She had become someone who could face challenges head on and make decisions that would protect her family. As Lina's business continued to flourish, Musa, the merchant who had once hired her, came to visit the village. He'd heard about the success of her shop, and was proud of how far she had come. "I knew you had potential, Lina," Musa said, looking at her with pride. "When I first met you, you were just a young girl looking for work. Now, look at what you've built." Lina blushed at his praise. "I couldn't have done it without you, Musa. You taught me so much." Musa smiled. "You had the drive all along. I just helped guide you." He sat down with Lina and Amir one evening, sharing stories of the larger markets in nearby towns and cities. He spoke about different ways to expand businesses, ways to invest, and how to keep customers happy. He was a man of experience, and Lina listened carefully, taking in every word. "You've already built something great," Musa said, "but there's always room to grow. Keep learning, keep improving, and don't be afraid to take risks when the time is right." Lina and Amir exchanged glances. They had already come so far, but they knew there was still much to learn. Musa's words inspired them to think bigger, to dream about what their future could hold. As the months passed, Lina and Amir made plans to expand their business. They decided to open a second shop in a nearby town where they could reach more customers. They had saved enough money to make this dream a reality. And with Musa's advice, they carefully planned out every detail. The new shop was smaller than the one in the village, but still full of the same warmth and care. They hired a few workers from the village to help run the store and even began selling to other small shops in the area. The town quickly became a loyal customer base, and soon their second shop was doing just as well as the first. Lina felt proud as she looked around the new store. It wasn't just a place where goods were sold. It was a symbol of everything she had worked for. It represented her dedication, her kindness, and her belief that with hard work, anything was possible. One afternoon, as Lina stood at the counter of the new shop, Amir approached her, a big grin on his face. "We did it, Lina. This is just the beginning." Lina smiled back, feeling a deep sense of gratitude for everything they had achieved. "Yes, it is. We're only getting started." Years passed, and Lina's family continued to thrive. The shops in both the village and the town grew even more successful, and Lina's reputation as a smart, hard-working businesswoman spread. People respected her, not only for her business sense, but for her kindness and her ability to bring the community together. Lina never forgot the lessons she had learned from her grandparents and from Musa. She made sure that every customer, whether rich or poor, was treated with respect. She also made sure that her workers were paid fairly and treated kindly. She remembered the difficult times she had faced, and she was determined to make life better for everyone she could help. One day, as she sat in her office at the second shop, now a large and bustling place, her thoughts turned to her grandparents. They had both passed away a few years earlier, but they had seen her success before they left this world. Lina was grateful for everything they had taught her, and she made sure their memory lived on in everything she did. As she looked out at the busy streets of the town, Lina realized how far she had come. She had once been a young girl with a dream, unsure of what the future would bring. Now, she was a successful businesswoman with a family that supported her, a business that had grown beyond her expectations, and a heart full of gratitude for the journey she had taken. Her story was one of resilience, kindness, and hard work, and it was a story that she would continue to write chapter by chapter for the rest of her life.